Happy Monday, my beautiful friends, my brothers and sisters, family. Gorgeous Monday afternoon here in Southern California. I'm broadcasting live. If you are watching this on a replay or on my YouTube channel, just know that I do just little greetings at the beginning, a little chit chat, because we are waiting for people to join in. And you're always welcome to join in. So if you are watching this on replay, you can fast forward for a few seconds there until we get to the subject of our discussion today. We will be talking about our property rights and what makes America really great and why it's so critical that we comprehend, that we are fully aware. What does it mean to actually own something? Today I will be talking about property, meaning your home, your house, your land, whatever you have on the actual land and the soil. So welcome to my channel here. This is Lenka. If you haven't watched my events in the field this past weekend, I strongly encourage you. We were dealing with some unlawful activity, and everything that I'm bringing to you, everything that I'm speaking on, everything that I'm teaching, everything that I'm helping people with is based on very extensive research, my own experience. So today we will be talking about property rights. So yesterday, what we've experienced was unlawful trespass on property rights, and also exposure that we really do not have law enforcement on San Diego County. We were in San Diego area in Escondido. I was doing live, so you can see everything in action. We just don't do theories here. We are actually taking it to the field. And every time you are standing up and you are defending your rights, you are making a difference. So it can be, you know, shopping without the muzzle. It can be defending your child's right to breathe at their school. It can be your grandparents, your parents. It can be your parking ticket. It can be a bigger situation when you actually have to enter the courts, and knowing your proper status, your standing, and your jurisdiction is critical. And we will be talking more about it. But yesterday, I was showing you the injustice that's actually happening for so many people out there that are actually owning property. So what does it mean to own property? It means that, you know, most people, they worked hard to acquire property, to purchase land, and to make a home or purchase the home. And now you are so kind and you are offering that property, that home, that housing, that domicile to someone else who might not be, as fortunate, might not have, the job you have, and now you decided that you will be renting that space, that property, whatever it might be. So it's very critical to distinguish between property rights and privileges. So if you are a property owner, you obviously have a deed to the property. And also what most people who own properties, they don't realize that this is exactly why we had the thing called American Revolution. See, prior to the 1700s, prior to the American Revolution, only the king and his elites could own the land. The people on the land were servants. They, were thugs. They were extorted. They could not own their properties. And they got sick and tired of it. And they gave it all so also you can be a property and land owner. So this is some very important and critical heritage that we must be preserving and start realizing that, hey, something is terribly wrong. Maybe there are some superior people who think that they are the kings and queens who can be dictating what you can do and cannot do with your property. So every property owner, if you are aware or not, and your land and your property, your home, your rental property is on American land, it's secured by that promise, by that guarantee from our founding fathers that that land now belongs to you, and it's secured under land patent. I will show you how that looks like. This is a land patent for one of my properties, okay? So this is actually a certified copy of a land patent which declares that that property is freehold, that it's free from any taxation, and that if you acquire the property now, you are actually party to this land patent. So that's what it means to be truly a property owner. And I will be doing talk more specific what this land patent really means and what you can do, because what most property owners are not doing, they are not anchoring themselves to this existent, it's a literally sacred document which declares you as the property owner that it's a freehold. So no one superior can come and can claim any higher superior rights. So owning property means that you are the owner, and so the owner has rights to the property. Now, if you decide, hey, I have a spare room, I have a spare property, and I have housing on it, and now I want to offer it to other people for rent, right? So what you are doing is you are granting privileges to those people who you are inviting on your property. Most likely you sign a lease or rental agreement, right? That for this 1 year, you might make it a year annual agreement that for this 1 year you will be paying, $1,000 or $2,000, whatever the amount is, and the tenant agrees, right? So that's called agreement, that both parties are signing in a red ink that yes, I agree that I will now take will be renting this property in exchange for a payment to the property owner. So I, as become a tenant, and I'm receiving privileges. It doesn't mean that because I'm getting mail on the property and because I am now getting water and utilities on the property that I own the property, that I have rights to the property. I do not. I have privileges, and those privileges are maintained and guaranteed under that rental agreement. The moment I stop paying that rent, or I start damaging the property, or I starting to cause a nuisance or injury or damage of any kind, the property owner has the right to terminate this lease agreement. So obviously, it makes sense to be a good tenant, to pay the rent, right, to take care of the property. It's a common sense. That's what makes people of honor, right? That I hold that side of my agreement, and my landlord holds their side of their agreement, that the property is maintained, that, that it's a business, right? Like some people go into business of fixing cars or making bread or helping people to heal. It's the same thing. It's a business, and it's a business agreement. If you do not like to be a tenant, you can become an owner. You can work towards an ownership. Some people do not like that because owning property takes, it's pretty, it's expensive. You have a lot of responsibilities. It just is not a free ride. I know, because I came here with nothing, right? And I didn't like to be tenant. I was tenant for several years and I did not like it. So I decided I'm going to really get in charge and work hard and smart, and I'm going to become a property owner. I want to own my own house. And so this is what's becoming very muddy waters now, and especially in California. So to really invoke our property rights, we need to have this clear distinguish the property rights versus tenancy privileges. So the people who are renting the property, they don't have rights to the property, they have privileges. But what has happened with our system, our system became extremely communist, if you've noticed, and especially in California. So yesterday what I was demonstrating is that we had a property owner who gave tenancy privileges to a person who stopped paying their rent. And she tried to work with him, she tried to negotiate with him, and he found out that through the legal system, this system actually not only allows, encourages, but also supports that these people stay on these properties for months and months, and then the burden needs to go through the rules of civil procedure, spend additional money, time, and effort to basically get in front of public servant, also known as judge, which, by the way, is not a judge, but that's also for another discussion. He is an administrator and he's a banker, to confirm that she has the rights to the property. And so there was a conflict, right? So law enforcement was called. And what does it mean to be law enforcement? Law enforcement means that it's enforcement of the law. Now, what is the law? The law is what is the supreme law of the land? The thing called the Constitution. The Constitution for the United States is the supreme law of the land. So if you own land, if you own property, that's secured under this little guy, the Constitution, right? Which is in the Fifth Amendment, your right to life, to liberty, and property. So it also states under the Constitution, in the Article 6, Section 2, that it is the supreme law of the land. So any additional statute, code, ordinances, code, whatever it might be, is lesser to that supreme law of the land. So it doesn't supersede, you see. So if someone basically violates the rental agreement, they are losing privileges and they have to leave that property. And if they don't leave the property, it becomes a matter of trespass, like any other trespass. If someone is on someone else's property without valid agreement, without making their payments, they are there unlawfully and they are trespassing. And what you could see yesterday is that we obviously do not have law enforcement that is enforcing the law. They are not even enforcing their own codes, which they've created. That if a person is on a private property and the owner is requesting that this person leaves and the person doesn't leave this private property, now they are trespassing. Doesn't that make sense? I think it just makes common sense. Now, they bring the argument, well, now it's not like that because they establish residence. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Agreement is superior. If you make an agreement that you are moving into someone else's house under the understanding that you will pay them for their services, and they agree that they will provide you the house, right, for which you are paying them, that's what constitutes the agreement. And when one party violates that agreement, now that agreement is terminated. So when the tenant stops paying the rent, that agreement is terminated. And so if someone is on property without valid agreement, now they are there unlawfully. They are trespassing. And that's also secured even under their own legal jurisdiction, the California Penal Code 6020, which says that private property owner has the right to have trespasser removed. And as you can see, yesterday it was very hard for the law enforcement from San Diego Sheriff's Department to really understand that. They were basically saying they were derailing the owner to go through the rules of civil procedure. What happens when you do that? When you go through the rules of civil procedures, you are waiving your constitutionally secured rights, which are superior. This is why I'm always telling people you don't want to go through the rules of civil procedure, because you are literally saying that, hey, I don't need my rights anymore that are secured under the supreme law of the land. I'm going to go into your world of legal la-la land of statutes, codes, and ordinances that change all the time, that are so cumbersome and complicated on a purpose to just confuse you, and just your mind will go crazy from their codes and statutes and orders and ordinances and mandates, and it's done for a reason. It's done on a purpose like this, so you could never make the sense of it, and they literally force you into hiring an attorney. Okay, this is why it's their own party. It's their private club. Every attorney, this is why every attorney has to have a license, has to be bar license. Bar has nothing to do with the republic. It is a private club, and basically it's a license to be part of that private club. It's literally licensed to steal. So you never want to go through the rules of civil procedure. Instead, you need to invoke your constitutionally secured rights that are secured to you under the supreme law of the land, and you need to ensure that you don't allow anyone to trespass on these rights. So you need to really think this through, how to plan that you are securing your property and that any trespasser is being removed from the property. And it's very frustrating to me when I see all these associations, these landlord-tenants associations, and they are giving all these legal advices which are literally steering you into this cumbersome, complicated, completely mudded system where you will spend your life just trying to understand their codes, their statutes, their procedures, and everything else, while the law is very simple. The law is super simple. Don't hurt another man or woman. Don't steal from someone else, right? So if someone is not paying rent, now they are stealing from someone else's, right? It's not a crime to own a property and to be renting that property. It's a business, like other people are in business. And so when people are not paying their rent, they are stealing. They are stealing. That's a theft, right? And so don't steal from other people. Don't trespass on their constitutionally secured rights. And then beyond that, you can do anything you want. But we became this completely confused, bamboozled society of this legal la-la land, where they are completely railroading people to a suicidal attempts, because like what they did yesterday, and I strongly suggest that you watch that video. It's almost 2 hours of recording what has happened to a property owner and how she was bullied and intimidated and coerced by these agents acting as law enforcement on behalf of the sheriff's department. And they have guns. And they came and they acted like now, everyone will listen to them, and they were completely perjuring their oath of office. They were traitors. They were traitors. So, my beautiful friends, I just wanted to we need to start making sense of this nonsense. So it's very important to be aware of rights versus privileges, right? You can only control what you've created. So if someone purchases property, now they can control that property. Not that someone moves in under tenant privileges and now they get to dictate how the rules will be. No, it doesn't work like that. This is a private property. And so the owner's rights are higher, are superior to privileges of tenants. And this is very important that we start distinguishing and we start standing up for these rights. Because if we don't, we will all lose. We will all lose. Because if people have to go in front of public servant to wait months, spend thousands of dollars for that public servant, aka judge, to confirm that yes, you own this property, and yes, this person is there unlawfully, they haven't been paid rent, been causing damage, nuisance, whatever it might be, well, this is really upside down system then, isn't it? This is very simple, very simple. Very simple. People who are on a property without a lawful contract and valid agreement with the property owner, they are there unlawfully. They are there unlawfully. They have no standing on the property. And if they are asked by the property owner to leave, to collect their belongings and go to move somewhere else, they have to leave. And if they do not leave, now it's a case of trespass. It's very simple. But the system wants to bamboozle you. They want to confuse you. And they want to completely derail property owners through the rules of civil procedure. And then, who knows, with this whole COVID, scamdemic, with this whole craziness, they created it so much more confusing and literally protecting the wrongdoers, the people who are trespassing, who are squatting on properties, who think that the legal system, this communist takeover system, is going to protect them. I don't think it makes really any sense, right? And you people, you have rights. You have rights. And if someone is committing crime, then we need to demand that there is law enforcement, that we actually have protection. So my beautiful friends, this was just very quick video I wanted to do to really start distinguishing between property rights and tenant privileges. And I, as a businesswoman, always encourage, communication, right? It's very important. We can resolve any problems, but we have to be the men and women of honor. That if I agree to something, I have to hold that side of agreement, right? And the other party too. And then if we disagree, that's perfectly fine. We terminate the agreement and we move on with life. But we have to ensure that we are not trespassing on someone else's right, that we are not stealing money from other people. This is very common sense. That's what our Constitution actually is based on. Just bringing the clarity to all this craziness and this insanity. My beautiful friends, have an amazing rest of the day, and I'm going to see you on the inside.